So we're recording now. And, great. Okay. And I was wondering, Joe, do you know offhand? Well, I do. Joe, do you know offhand when the takedown for the JCC show is, when we need to pick up our pieces?
Well, originally everything's supposed to come down on 10/31.
Okay.
But I need to confirm that with her and make sure of, because it changed at the last minute,
Okay.
And so my thought was that I was going to check with her probably sometime this week, say, when do you
Right.
need to come pick things up? Because sometimes we've just taken them off the wall,
Yeah.
Can you
Right.
hear me? I'm sorry.
So is that the 30? Is that Halloween Day?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, nothing about this has been convenient.
Right.
I mean, that's a
Yeah.
Thursday, but I would imagine that, she had been more lenient before and understanding, or maybe it came closer to a weekend, but this time she was pretty strict about needing things on a certain day,
Right.
and I know that's not always convenient for everyone, but anyway, so I would tell people to plan on 10/31, and I will check with her see if there's any latitude with that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and if there's anyone that can't physically show up on the 31st, just like the before, just let us know, and maybe we can figure out someone who can pick up your work for you if you can't do it on that day.
Okay.
Okay.
I will get with her and get an email out to the people involved.
Okay. All right. And Robin was telling me earlier, she had I think a good suggestion for our Christmas meeting in December. She thought it might be a good idea for us to present some sort of a small gift to Tika in exchange for using their facilities over the years.
Yeah, let me just say that so everybody can hear it.
Yeah.
So we're on Zoom too, so we're kind of doing a hybrid tonight.
Yeah.
But we had a thought, since we've been using the room so much, we've never even done a card or anything.
Yeah.
Does anybody have we could make them chocolate chip cookies. 12 people work here, so it's not a huge list. Or we can just get a card and sign it, or if anybody has any ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought your idea of maybe giving them a copy of the blurb book from the Sister City show was a good idea.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think about that? We're trying to do a Christmas gift for TECA since we meet here all the time. We were just thinking at our Christmas thing, we could get a card and everybody sign it. Or, give them a copy of the Sister Cities book and just say, thanks for letting us use the building. And if anybody's
That's a great idea. Yeah, we are so
let
grateful.
us know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been such a wonderful place to meet.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're getting started. We got people up on Zoom and we're getting ready to do the show here. So Wayne,
Okay. All right.
take off.
So yeah, so Robin's gonna was kind enough to be our juror for the JCC show. So this year, so she's gonna go through photographs and tell us what she thought and what her thought process was through in selecting the show.
All right, I'm trying to share my screen here. Let's get that started. Share. Did everybody get to go to the show? I haven't gone yet. I've got to go, but I hear it's great. I hear it looks really nice. So I'm gonna just do these in Bridge. I know the quick shortcut to just make this just the screen. What is it?
In Lightroom, it's Command F makes it full screen.
Command F.
Yeah, if you're using light.
Usually it's tab, sometimes they Photoshop. But anyway, can everybody see that close enough? They're not gonna be huge, but they'll be close, so, um.
You see the little tab right across the top where it's where film strip is underlined.
Yeah,
Click on that and see what other choices you're given. Okay.
there's somewhere that makes it just,
Yeah.
alright, well, I think everybody can see it pretty well. Alright, so I.
You can just press the space bar and it should come up full screen.
And Wayne, if you can figure out how to do slideshow, just look for slideshow.
You can just press the space bar on the first image and it'll come up full
Anyway,
screen.
Yeah.
so
Joe said press the space bar.
that's what I,
Oh,
oh, there we go,
okay,
it worked
yeah.
that time. Oh, I was
Okay.
in Photoshop. on the
And
other.
then use the arrows to go, forward.
Thank you,
And
Joe.
yeah, and use the arrows to go
Yeah.
forward. Yeah.
Just got that. All right. So,
Robin's on mute. Can't hear anybody if she's speaking.
all right. Sorry, guys. I've been here for 2 hours and it was a rough setup. Some of the cables are gone that are supposed to be here. Wayne, you'll have to turn your audio off or they're going to have an echo. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I really enjoyed this shot. Let me just do an overview of the whole thing. Can't remember the number. It was about 100 entries, I think, somewhere in there. And I had the arduous job of, it may have been about 120 because I think I had to pick, I think it was about 25 to 30% of what was entered made the show. And that was because we were limited to a certain number of what went up at the JCC. And for our website, I don't know if you want to do kind of a slideshow that has everybody's work up, or if we want to do a slideshow with just JCC show, or if there's anything you all want to do with that. But
Send me the files.
okay.
the JPEGs.
Okay, because I've got it from finalist to first cut, second cut, third cut, but I can just send you okay. Okay, we'll do something with that. So this image, normally I don't care for centered, but this one, it just takes your attention, boom, right to that door. And I just really liked this image. There was a lot of black and white in what we had for the show, and I really enjoyed looking at it. Everybody had great, tones. There was nothing that was too blown out or blacked out or anything. All the black and white was done very nicely. But I really like this. It just focuses your attention so much in the center. I'm assuming it's the lens and you zoom back. Whose is this? Are you guys here? Are you here tonight? No, I guess I don't know whose they are. We can identify them on the website, I guess, if we want to. The only thing that could have made this any different or better is a person walking through it, but then that would have been kind of, the zoom would have really messed that up. So I understand why there's not someone in it. But anyway, I just really liked the tonality and the composition on this shot. It's a cathedral somewhere. It's not Washington National Cathedral, but it's somewhere. That's a nice, beautiful spot to go, I'm sure. I love reflections personally. This is a nice shot from, I'm assuming Radner, might not be Radner. It just had a neat feel to it. I love the palette. It's a nice probably late after, either early morning, late afternoon sun, and it's just a beautiful little reflection. You can play with, this was kind of, one thing I noticed, it was a little bit, it wasn't like a long exposure, but it was long enough that it gave you a little bit of blur, and it gave you a little bit of intrigue with that blur as the water moved, and kind of painted kind of a natural watercolor. And I enjoy the composition with the tree coming down here. It's kind of a rule of thirds. Anyway, just kind of a pleasant shot. You can look at that for quite some time and see all kinds of different little abstract things in it. Okay, so this one, I went back and forth. I tried to figure out, I love their expressions. This again, centered. Again, I don't really care for centered all that much, but all the attention is this beautiful diagonal kind of just right through here. I mean, there's all kinds of lines and stuff everywhere, but you can't beat her expression looking at him,
she's looking directly at the photographer. So I can't tell if this was, he said, sure, you can take my picture. And she's like, but it's almost it's a little bit of a dichotomy between a younger generation and an older generation, and an angst there that's kind of cool. It could be a sister and brother, but I'm pretty sure it's mom and a son. And he's just kind of, it makes me feel like he's in a little bit of a different generation, almost. And it's just a bit of a culture clash there. The only thing I might have done, I kind of like the town. I went back and forth of would I want that cropped out, because I kind of kept thinking this is a vertical, but it ends up the feel for it and just their expressions are just perfect in that. And if you'll notice too, the technical bit of it, they're both really sharp. And so he's not blurry, she's not blurry. If you'd had a zoom lens on this is more like a 50 millimeter, maybe 60. And it allows for both of them, both their faces to be in focus. And it's nice light too. And this is just a really cool close-up macro. Those might be Cosmos, or did anybody shoot that that's here? Tell you what, speak up if it's yours, or just like hold your hand up so I can see whose it is if I have any questions about it. I loved, sometimes it's hard to shoot things in pairs because your eye doesn't kind of know where to go. And so with the yellow in here, that one is in the background just enough and faded a bit that it doesn't immediately draw your attention. And I just love all the little lines here kind of curving around. I think that's a Cosmos, but I'm not sure. Love light on it. And I love how there's light and shadow going on here. And it kind of appears that there might be a couple of layers over it with some texture. Either that or you just used a high ISO and didn't denoise it. And I like, everybody is all about all the denoising possible now, but for this one, I like the texture and a little bit of grain noise that it appears to have in that shot. So, and stop me if anybody's got questions. Wayne, if you can keep an eye on the chat too. If anybody has a question, just let me know. This is a cool shot. I could see Denny doing this one. I don't know if it's his or not, or Jerry Parks or somebody like that, but Al Woods. Okay, Al is another likely suspect for this one. I just love the feel of it. It's just a scene you may see it every day. And I know sometimes when I get so stuck, I can walk around Radnor 30 times and find something different. But I've done that so much, it's kind of like, oh, there's a doe and a fawn, and you move on. And you start not being able to recognize, oh, there's a really cool shot here. Or I do anyway. I get too programmed, I guess, on the things you see every day. So this it was a road trip. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's very nice. Yeah, it must have. I don't know the specs on it, but it's very nicely done. Yeah. I'm going to go this week to see them. So it looked sharp and everything was nice on here. These screens aren't doing them justice, but I just love the feel for it. And I loved that you didn't crop out the road, because you can just imagine how many times this car has pulled out of the driveway and gone down that road, and it's just got stories you can kind of make up with it. So,
Yeah, I think that line, the white line on the side of the road really contributes to the composition of the piece.
yeah. And the palette's just very nice too. I just, and I like the overcast sky because it doesn't draw attention away from it. Normally, the lightest part of your image will draw your eye to it, and then you're kind of off the page. With me, I'm always concerned with keeping the reader's eye on a page or in a picture. But the white in this doesn't distract me at all because I keep coming back to the car. So, but I really like it. And it's just a slice of life. It's just a moment that you saw and caught it. This one intrigued me because I really couldn't figure out what was going on. I couldn't figure out, is that a switch or it's a stick, it appears. But it's a great moment. She is, horses are hard to begin with. But it's a neat little moment. It's a perfect shot of vertical. Horizontal, you might have seen more of the river, but I mean, all the attention is right here in the center on your subject. And I don't know what it looked like in color, but the black and white looks so nice. It's a little contrasty on here. It's got all nice tonal ranges in here. Her face is beautiful. That would have been a hard exposure to do because your camera's going to be wanting to read the sky or the horse, and so it was probably a pretty, you had to know what you were doing to shoot this. Does anybody know anything about this image?
This is mine, Robin, and this was in Camargue, France.
Okay.
Where these are the guardians that herd and care for these horses. And
Okay.
so it's a very outdoorsy place, shall we say. And I just found it fascinating that this is their life. They get to take care
Yeah.
of these horses, So
That's
anyway.
awesome. Yeah. And for those of you who don't know horses, they can be squirrely all the time, and especially around water. So clearly, this woman and this horse know each other. She trusts
Yep.
that they're going across the stream. You know what I'm talking about, Joe.
Yep.
Well, very nice. Very nice image. I liked this one. It makes perfect sense that she's a herder. But I just couldn't tell what was going on in it when I saw it at first. So nice. And this looks like a rock album from years ago, wasn't it? I don't remember which album, but is this the same set of horses, Joe?
Yes, these are the horses that she was herding.
Perfect. Well, I did not put those two together when I was editing for the show, but that makes perfect sense. I get rid of this thing. Sorry, I didn't realize that was up there too. Yeah, so nice. You got down, it appears that you got below their eye level, and images with horses with all the motion and commotion, and especially water, it's moving fast. You don't have a lot of time to plan for what you can do. You just got to hit it when you can. So and if you'll notice on the Zoom screen, let's see if I can reduce that a little. Nope. There's more room on either side. Like that horse's nose is not going into the right side of the screen as much. It's just cropped on my screen because of the slideshow mode. But
Yeah.
anyway, very nice. So
It was
now,
it was a wonderful experience.
excellent. The one reason I didn't put these together is this one is black and white, and then you left the color in here. What was your thinking on that?
I don't know. I just wanted to have some color as well as black
Mhm.
and white.
I like it.
And
Yeah.
I had processed some other horses running through the water in black and white, but I don't know. This one just, I
Mhm.
don't know, struck me.
Yeah, I like the slight. I mean, there's not much, but I like it. I like the yellow in their manes. I think, well, one thing you might have seen was if their manes had been white, it wouldn't have shown up as well. But with all the motion and the hair in their mane,
Yeah.
that little bit of yellow color helps. So nice. And I love trees. I always love a tree. And this is just great. So when we shoot landscapes, sometimes you forget about the foreground, and this just answers the foreground and the sky. You can also have skies that have too much light, and so you get under a tree or get something, just leaves in the foreground, and it adds so much depth to an image. This is a great kind of a wide angle shot. Again, black and white. You guys send in a lot of black and white, which I love. And there also appears to be it's either noise or a texture laid over part of it. Could be both. Anybody claim this one?
This is mine too. It's Cassis, France.
Okay. You had a good shoot when you were over there.
I
So,
did.
yeah. So
It
what
was
is the noise
beautiful.
on this? Did you lay a mask over the
Yeah,
background, or is it just noise?
it's
Okay,
got
that's what I
textures
thought.
and things on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just really liked the layers in this. There are layers of texture and there are layers of the subject. So there's a lot, your eye just keeps moving around in it. You don't just get stuck on one thing.
I
Nice.
love this tree.
Yeah, that tree's great. There used to be a tree like that at Fall Creek Falls.
Yep.
Possibly the same thing, but it's gone. It got killed in an ice storm. So, okay, this one I went back and forth about. I could not decide whether I wanted to put it in there or not. And it just is such a little slice of life. I believe the title on this was Coney Island. So it's just a neat little slice of life. And it's sometimes with humanity, if we don't look perfect or they're too big or too little or whatever the thing is, or their hair's not right or whatever, you might not shoot it, but it's a slice of humanity and it's real, you know, and so I decided to include this one. Anybody want to claim this one? Nope. I almost didn't put it in there because in the description of the JCC show, it has to be all family oriented, and there were a couple of images I didn't put in, and I just figured somebody could complain about the bathing suits, but it's just a slice of life that I thought we all see, but we might not all recognize and go to shoot it. And I like the black and white palette in this too. So this one I looked at and looked at and looked at. I'm embarrassed to say it took me until about the third time that I saw it to realize that that's Cuba. Because it looked like just a piece of art on the wall or something. For those of you at home, this is Cuba. So, but this has got to have such a cool story behind it. I mean, it tells its own story as it is. I'm guessing that might be Fidel Castro up there. I'm not sure. It's what? Oh, there you go. Okay. So, so did you shoot this? Oh, tell me about it.
So this was in.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
This woman is a ballerina who dances.
Okay. That's awesome. Yep. So for those of you who may not have heard, it's in a bar in Havana, and this was a professional ballet dancer. Was she there, or she went with you to Cuba?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. 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 So what a great opportunity to put somebody of such grace and form and everything in front of what appears to be an old refrigerator or something in there at a bar. But it just turned out you can just see the struggles she's had to go through to get to where she is in a way with the stuff behind her. You know, here she is with her face, but here's what I've had to go through to get to this, you know, and as far as knowing some history about Havana and Cuba and everything. Anyway, I just loved it, and she's on point for ballet. I just can't get admit it. Yeah, it is. It's completely ironic. But I love it. I'm sorry I can't get rid of this stupid thing down here. Normally it disappears.
We can't see anything down at the bottom, so
Oh, good. It's
don't
on our
worry
screen.
about it.
All right, now I've got it going. All right, so yeah, just full of irony, and it takes you a minute, and like I said, I kept it in for 3 rounds of editing because I didn't understand it, and I kept going back to it and kept looking at it, and then I realized it was Cuba, and I'm like, oh, I get it now. So took me a second. This one is great. This was it in Brentwood's Photo Club that I had seen this one before? I think, yeah. So this was I can't remember what the event was, but I just love the human contact between these two. I think in all of our pictures, one of the main things that one of the criteria I used was had to be family oriented for the JCC show. I wanted to see something I hadn't seen before. So I did get in some waterfalls and just little kids playing on a splash pad and stuff like that, but kind of been there, done that, seen that before. And I wanted this to be representative. It needed to evoke some type of an emotion, have some type of a relationship in the photo, some angst maybe. And I just was looking at it to where if it made me stop and look at it for a minute and try to figure it out, like the Cuba shot, I kept going back to that. And I think if it's something you haven't seen before, or something, just a new way to handle things, that was always a positive, added some points to whether it'd be in the show or not. This was cool. It kind of reminded me of a moonscape or a Marsscape from what we've been seeing. And um, anybody claim this one that's here? Nope. Love the black and white again. Love the layers. The moon had the moon not been in the sky with a few clouds, I might have cropped it a lot closer on the sky, because when I do landscape, I don't want to put the horizon right in the middle because it kind of becomes two halves of a picture competing against each other. But with this one, it's got enough interest in the upper portion that I don't mind it at all. And nice lines. I was gonna say it makes me want to go there, but it looks hot and I don't want to walk there either. So I might not go there, but it's a neat shot. And this one, I love the eye level of a mushroom. And just the macro sense. Some of this could have been done in Photoshop, but I think it was just the focal length and the macro part of your lens. It could be lens baby too. But I love the palette. I love the second thing is I wanted to know what the subject was. I don't want to have to guess. I want to see what the subject is quickly and see how you define your subject. And so this is, you can't help but know exactly what the subject is. It's growing up, so you have a little bit more room at the top for room, just because that's the direction it's headed. The palette's very nice, and it's got nice diffused lighting on it. So it's a very nice portrait of a mushroom. Okay, this one is Yosemite, and all right. Very nice. I loved the sky. I don't know if the sky was there when you were there, if you added the sky. It was, yeah. I felt like it was, yeah. But very nice. I don't see any Photoshop has made it so tempting to like really take care of your blown out sky, in Photoshop, and then you end up with little artifacts here and there. But okay, good. Well, Lightroom's the same. I mean, it's just Lightroom's don't get mad, the dumbed down version of Photoshop. So, no, I'm just kidding. I've just always done Bridge because that's what I learned. Lightroom is Bridge and Photoshop combined. It's basically the same stuff made by the same people, just different ways to get from point A to point B. But I like the waterfall in it. Great moment of light and the clouds. It looks like an old 1940s postcard. The lithography of how they made those always ended up with this type of a feel, but nice. And this isn't an angle of Yosemite you see very often. It's a little bit different angle. So back to the I haven't seen it before kind of thing. And I just liked this one a lot. And it also looks like when it breaks another rule of ours, it's almost midday sun, it looks like, or just it's not golden hour because the sun's way up high. But the clouds, if you stay there for a few minutes and watch how the clouds filter the light, it's really cool. And it almost looks like in the center, right in the center part where it's got a little yellow. I didn't know if that was smoke from a fire or if it was just a little yellow. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Yep.
A depth to it, but it's getting ready to storm.
Okay. Gotcha. It just had a lot of atmosphere. I liked it. This is just some weird moment of these two people downtown, but it just the expressions. And I figured, well, it's not JCC could toss it out. I wasn't sure, but it's super clear. I don't know if it was denoised or not, but it's just a nice moment. It could have, and I put it in there just to see if they'd throw it out, and then they could have. And Carrie knew. I had let her know there were a couple that I didn't know because I didn't know how firm that guideline was or what they wanted to do. But it also reminded me of the Bat Poet. Have you guys ever heard of the Bat Poet? He used to be on Channel 3, and he would be downtown and he was fighting. He would help people out. He was a nut because he would come here every now and then wanting us to do a story on him. And but it reminded me of Bat Poet, and he was like fighting good and evil and all that. So you've got good, and then he kind of looks evil, ironically. So anyway, it was just a neat street photo kind of option moment. This one, I love the texture and the light. It looks like it's lit straight from lower right straight up, and that's about the only light that's involved in the whole shoot or the whole photo. The colors are nice. I think you can see the texture in it. On my screen, everything is black except just for the flowers. So this texture and stuff is not appearing like that on my screen. That's just this monitor that's not doing so great. But just a neat, I've seen 1,000 pictures of irises, but this gave it a different spin, and I just love the light. And this one I loved, the composition was nice. And I love these little bits of, it looks like red, this little, I kind of thought of little jewels, on the surface of the leaf. It's lily pads. And I just liked just the design of it. You can see the veins in the leaves. One thing I wish had been, it's not as contrasty on my screen as it is up here. This could have been burned in just a little bit. And it could have refined it. I don't know. It might not have worked very well, but I liked the water droplet on it. It's just kind of a cool shot. Can't remember who did this one, but I think
That was
that's what I thought. Okay. I love this one. I don't think he's sitting in front of a photo store, but it almost looks like he is. It's hard to,
It was.
it is. Okay. I couldn't tell for sure. And it's got professional. That's what I made up in my head that he was. But this guy's had this camera for, since he was probably 30. Just a really cool beat up. I've even got one of those Vivitar flashes from like the 70s or 80s. But what a cool guy, and you just wonder what he's seen through that camera, because we're seeing him through his eyes, and he's probably never even thought of that angle. But just imagine all the stuff he's seen through his camera. Do we know the name of him or anything? Yeah.
The guy he knew.
Okay.
That hangs out in front of the B&H store.
Oh, cool. Okay.
People coming and going.
That's awesome. Okay, well, that's even a cooler backstory. But I just love the light in his eyes and the texture of his hat, the texture of his beard, and the brick right behind him. It's just such a nice little. I don't think he was posed. I think they probably just walked up and saw him like this and just did a few images and you were gone. But it just captures the guy, captures his essence for sure. And the black and white is very nice with this. And we've seen 1,000 eclipse photos. I've done 1,000 eclipse photos, but I loved the interplay of the clouds. And you can drive to Illinois and shoot the eclipse, and if you stay put or within the totality, it's going to look the same no matter where you go. Unless you have some kind of cool foreground or something like that in it. And these clouds just really kind of, just add an atmospheric quality to it, and I loved the colors that it added to it, and just really nice. Who's this? Is this yours, Wayne, or who's?
Yeah, this is mine.
Like,
Yeah, this is actually the partial eclipse about a year ago.
okay,
I stepped out in my backyard and got that.
awesome. I like it. I just love the texture in the clouds.
Hey, Robin,
Uh-huh.
the photographer in the last photo, his name is Luis Mendez, and he's been shooting street photography for about 60 years. And he usually sets up outside of one of those camera shops and maybe walks around that area, but I can't remember which one it is. But it's Luis,
cool.
Louis Mendez, Mendes.
Okay, cool. We'll add that. Maybe would you mind putting that in the chat? Just add that as a note in the chat
Yeah, I got you.
if you're on Zoom.
Uh-huh.
And you might not have heard somebody somebody has confirmed that is the B&H store in New York that he's in front of.
Okay.
Yeah, so cool. But yeah, if you don't mind, put his name in the chat and then we'll have it.
Okay, I got you.
All right, thank you. I'm assuming Nashville Zoo. I also critiqued this one for Brentwood. And I love the color and the texture of his hair. And it's just the other, one of the other parameters I had is it had to have really cool light. There had to be an aspect of subject, light, and some type of technique is what I was looking at just to see, because I wanted it to be sort of, it was an open show, so that makes it even a little bit more difficult, but it's kind of like the Yosemite one, totally different from this, but that is that photographer's style and feel. This is somebody else's, and they each have totally different things, but they've got great light, subject matter, and that's just how that photographer sees things. So it's hard to compare the two, but they both have light, subject, technique, and you chose the right technique, the right lens to make it all come together for that given image. Anyway, this one, I don't think the photographer's here. He's with Brentwood Photo Club, I think. Not sure. But I don't think they're here. I don't have their names, but I think this was at the Nashville Zoo because I had edited or critiqued this one time before. All right. Swimming from a drone or the back of the stadium, not sure. I love the sky. This is one of those things, it's probably not planned to be up there for that day to get this cool shot, but you're there and you're presented with an awesome sunset. And it just is such a busy city, and our skyline has changed so much. I just really liked it. It's if you're an architectural photographer, there's way too much, wide angle here, but I like that it just gives you a bird's eye view. Was this a drone? Anybody? Nope, don't know who did it. The other thing that I thought would have been really cool is if you were where you could do a long exposure, it would be neat to see the brake lights going into the sunset, and all blurred. That would have been kind of cool, but that's the only thing I would have even tried to change about this, and it probably wasn't possible because it looks like it was possibly a drone. But cool, great exposure. Love the sunset behind it and the river. Nice. If you'd done a slower exposure, the river would also obviously have motion to it, but it just might not have been possible. But that was a cool shot. How'd that look in a print? Did you guys see it? Print was nice. Yeah. Another great moment is this bocce ball?
Yeah.
Okay, bocce ball. Assuming New York, maybe Central Park. Is that right?
Yeah.
Paris. Oh, I was way off.
Luxembourg.
Okay. Very cool. But look at the generations here, and how many husband, wife people. Look at the lady behind him leaned back reading her book. She said, I don't care about this, but it's pretty. I'm going out. Just think of all the stuff that's gone on. In New York, you might see people playing chess or playing checkers like this. I actually did a photo shoot one time of guys that played checkers at Centerville on the square, and just the stories they tell and the history that they have. And it's just a neat shot that you recognize this moment. And the guy, you can tell they're strategizing what's the next shot. And the guy on the right is not happy with either the last shot or the one that he did. I'm not sure which, but it's got enough angst. And the younger guy is kind of saying, oh, if you do this and you do that. So it's just a neat interpersonal communication, silent communication between them. Thought it was cool. And black and white again, too. Do you play bocce ball or did you? Yeah.
Grew up around folks that did. I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. What attracted you to this shot?
Intensity of these two guys.
Mhm.
It was a lot of jabbering in French, and I don't speak French during probably smack talking, but their intensity of playing, and it you can see
Yep.
in the distance, it's a big square
Yeah.
play kind of head, and there's other people playing it, but it struck me with these people.
Yeah. Yeah. Intensity is a good word. I came up with angst.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't ever heard of the Roley Hole tournament, look up Roley, Roley tournament, Roley Hole, HOLE tournament. They play marbles, and it's up in Standing Stone State Park, has the National Roley Hole Tournament of the Year, or National Tournament or whatever. I think it's in the spring. I could be wrong on that, but look up Roley Hole because it's really cool to go watch these guys because they will fold up on the ground and get in this little bitty, and they shoot like this, but it's a great opportunity to shoot. So Roley Hole tournament at Standing Stone reminds me of that scene. This was cool. It's got to be a lighthouse or something. But look at the light in that. It's just beautiful. You have the stairs curving and they keep going and then they come back here. And to include the window is because so many people just shoot the stairs winding down or winding up or whatever. And the window include with the light is just beautiful in this shot. And it would have been pretty black and white, but I love just going completely monochrome with that palette. Anybody in here on this one or online?
This is Provence again.
Oh, good. Okay. Love
It's a
that one.
chateau and an ancient, and I just thought the spiral staircase was way cool.
Okay, so it's a chateau, not a lighthouse.
Yeah,
Very cool. Love the texture and the light. And that's just one, I'm assuming, I'm going to say you walked up and shot that. And that's just one of those that looks too good to be true or too easy to do. And sometimes I'll walk past stuff like that and not shoot it just because it was like I see it every day, or it's mundane to me because I see it every day. But this is something that just makes you stop and look at it, makes you stop and go, oh, that's awesome.
I just
So,
love the light, yeah, on the
yeah, you
stairs.
could
And
not, you
you
couldn't
think about
ask.
how many people have gone up and down those stairs for
Yeah,
it to have that irregular texture, you know.
exactly. Yeah, because you can see where the stairs are worn. And
Mhm.
yeah, that's just awesome. Nice. All right, and this one, I think it had the title, and it's in the title, the location. Is this France too?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a cool scene, and it's been made even better by layering some textures over the top, and probably several other Photoshop tricks that enhance. So I love this is so much more fine art. Then so compare it to the bocce ball. So that's so much more street photography, photojournalism, and that's what you shoot most of the time, isn't it? That's what you shoot most of.
Chance.
Oh, you did Yosemite too. That's right.
Yeah.
But still, what you shoot most of the time, um, I can just tell the styles. I knew which images were submitted by the same person. I didn't know necessarily who they were, but I could tell the styles of who did what. But I loved the red leading into this. Red, if you don't know, I'm sure you do, is kind of like our lifeblood color, and it always adds interest and intrigue in images. Your eye almost always goes to the red part if there's a handkerchief or anything red, lipstick, whatever you might see in it. But I just love the feel of this. And it's not overly photoshopped. It just has it's a chateau. It says something on the building, can't read it. But I love the textures in the sky. All right.
The print of this
Mm-hmm.
is incredible because it's got a watercolor look to it.
It does. It does. Yeah, that's awesome. And
To
it's
me, this is Provence again, and we were in the land of Van Gogh, and
yeah,
I mean, it was
yeah,
just it was just so awesome to be in that same space. And um, I mean, this is the land of impressionism, to me. So that's what it
yeah.
was all about.
That's awesome. And it really looks painterly. I mean, it really does. I really studied this one for a while when I pulled it up. But yeah, it is absolutely inspiration, that area for Van Gogh and so many artists. I even thought a little bit about Monet with the poppies in bloom.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
yeah, and then the texture in the sky brings you to that pointillism and impressionism era. So very cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I did. This was best of show. Yeah. And it's just one of those that when I had everything up, and my process was I looked at everything all together. And then I broke it down. I took out probably about 20. Then I'm like, oh, I've seen that 1,000 times. It might not have been a cat in a barn, but it could have been a waterfall. And they were technically done well. It's just I've seen it 1,000 times and there wasn't anything super special about it. And I had no idea who shot it, anything like that. So it was just one that didn't grab me. But this one grabbed me from the very first time I saw it. And it pretty much was my favorite from the start, and it stayed in that spot. It had competition, but it was my favorite. I just love this little light study, just a neat study of black and white, just light filtering through. Just really nice. And it's love the shapes, all the shapes on the right side, and then it gets blurred and curved around the lamp and then back up to here. And you may not be able to see it. There's a lot of texture in the lampshade, but I just love it's just recognizing light. And then you basically have a subject in the light that you recognize and you see, and I just enjoyed that one. Um, Kind of like the mushroom, but I loved the backlight or the glow. So sure, tell me about it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. I really like the choice of the palette that you used because you could take this to black and white too, but I love the warmth of the light because you could tell it's either late in the day, early in the day. with a very angled sunlight approach to it. And I just like the textures. And it is the light kind of brings it to life, even though it is something that's dead, and it's winter. But the light just really sounds silly, but it illuminated the subject just perfectly. So exactly. Yeah, it just adds a richness to it. And I like the selective focus of basically just 3 leaves, 4 leaves being really sharp and the rest of it. Do you use a macro or a yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like it. He had to be close. This one, I really loved his expression. If that guy wasn't sitting there with that expression, this photo would have nothing, and it was just such a neat moment to see him. He's gone in, it's probably a beer in front of him. It's black and white, so you can't really tell what it is, but you can tell he has had a day, and he is just sitting down to have a drink and kind of try to wash the day away. But I just loved the placement and the area on the right is blurry. It's kind of, it almost adds to the mystery of, what did he go through today? And here's kind of just, he's just so focused, the photographer focused on just him. None of the rest of it matters. But it's integral to the picture to have more, there's another person up here on the right, and to have a little bit more life in it. If you had just zeroed in on him and even done a vertical, it still would have been nice. But I love this aspect because it gives you the sense of he's at a bar or his local pub or whatever. And the light on his face was just nice. Is anybody here that shot that, or the person photographer? Al would too. It looks like Al's. Yeah. And that's just a matter of walking by and seeing the light, seeing what light's hitting where. But I just really like that one. I know this one because Emily made a comment on Facebook. Didn't know it was hers before, but this is Jenny's ice cream. I've been there 1,000 times. Such a simple place, but what a great shot! What a great street photography shot! And you've got the couple leaving the building, so you've got two people over here, 2 people here. Sometimes that could be competing. Those 2 groups of subjects could compete, but this is just, I love the palette and the feel of this image. It's got she used a high ISO because there's quite a bit of noise in it, but I like that noise. I'm glad that you didn't. It's either that or a mask over the top. I couldn't tell. I take it back. It may be a mask over the top. Not sure. Anyway, I like seeing some noise sometimes. We don't have to put everything through topaz or denoise or whatever. I like seeing some of that grit and grain because as film photographers, you just dealt with, you would choose grain sometimes. And anyway, but I just really like the feel of this image. Neat little moment of street life. And this one is really cool. I thought it was Centennial Park. I've been informed that it's not in the US. Where did you say it was? France? No, haystacks. We were talking about haystacks. This was in Oregon, right? Oh, I thought you took this one. Oh, we were looking at the other one you said to the right. I just mixed myself up. Yep. 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 So this is just a neat moment, and the white of the top of the curb, I guess, or that little seawall, that S just goes straight to the person. It echoes her emotion. It echoes the foot kind of kicked back going again. And the timing was perfect for this, to have them in light, not shadow. Nice black and white. And, it would be intriguing if you just cropped out the bottom half of the water, but I kind of like, it's a park setting and it's water. I mean, you could go either way, but I ended up deciding I like the water in it too. So black and white again, but nice. That's it. Yeah. So that's haystacks off the coast of Oregon. And I love the scale. Sometimes as landscape photographers, like the Yosemite shot, that panorama is the thing to do. But then, and I believe me, for my day job, I always wanted to have people and power lines and all the stuff in it. But as my nature photography side, I don't use people very much in the stuff that I shoot from landscapes. So I know this was probably happenstance. They went by as you were shooting, but it gives such a nice scale, to have the guy and the dog in there. and the atmosphere of the image, it's kind of chilly. And the palette is just really subtle, but nice overcast. I guess that's the marine layer kind of burning off with the fog. He's almost getting a little bit too to the center, but to have him over here and then the haystacks, it's a nice composition. I could have had him a little bit further to the right, but I'm not opposed to this at all. Had he been right in the center, that would make your eye as a reader go right there and stop, and it would be too much of a center feeling. The horizon of what you can kind of see is the horizon right here is also not centered. And I think that also helped it, because if you center that horizon, it just can make it a little bit more or less interesting, I think. No, I like him where he is, but I'm just saying if he had been any more toward the center, it would have been a little bit halting. But I like him where he is. This is another reflection shot. So there were four or five reflection images. So one thing I did do when I was getting down to brass tacks and I needed to eliminate like 5 or 6 more, I compared all the reflections, or I compared all the street scenes or whatever. And this one, I just love the blue. It's technically, it might be a little grainy and not like a perfect technical shot, but it could be it could be a phone shot, but I just loved the patterns. And it's something about it. You just kind of keep looking at it and you can see faces in it. And like, there's a cat. Here's the cat, like right there. You see all kinds of stuff in it. I know, and this is like one of those T-Rex guys, right there. Anyway, it's just a cool shot. I thought the colors were nice. And this one I loved. You can tell he's just got such a presence, with this this musical instrument. And I love the texture. I think there's a layer of grain. Did you put a layer or mask over? It's just, that's how you shot it. Yep. That's awesome. And I love how, these two, I don't know what you call those in music, but it frames his eye. I thought that was kind of cool. And you can just almost hear the music that he's playing. Yeah, he's hearing his music and what goes with that in his head. Yeah, he's not paying any attention to anybody around. That's just really nice. And look at the palette. I mean, you could not have dressed him any better to have those browns and blacks and the tone of his skin and then the top of this instrument. I think it's critical that you got the top and didn't, crop that out at all. Yeah, but so nice. And he's just alone playing what he loves, It almost has a definite feeling of loss. He's not wearing a wedding ring at all, who knows if he is a widower or whatever, but you just know he's lived a life for sure. But what a neat shot. I don't know where this is. Maybe I was going to say Maine. That's what I was going to say. As soon as I saw the little house on the right, love the foreground. The shot is the boats. You could have gotten so focused and stuck on that. In fact, I probably would have cut this to here and not thought about including everything, but it just sets the scene so nicely. And the color in the water, I like that, because it kind of separates the shot. It's kind of like, this is a shot and that's a shot up there, but it all goes together. It's so scene setting, and it's just it's a photojournalism image. The only thing that you could have done any different is to have a person in a boat, but you come up on this and you see it and you're not setting that stuff up. But I really like this image. And the top, there's more sky to it than what you can see on Zoom. I think it kind of crops those trees on the left. That is not how the photo is. It actually has more room. So I like that space that you didn't crop out anything. It's probably a 40 millimeter, 35, 40 millimeter. But very nice. This one I went back and forth with several times too. And it's kind of fun. It's almost like they're being eaten by this gigantic elevator, or escalator. But it's just neat. The tones and the grain in it, I really liked, and the direction, the movement. And so if you had just zeroed in on here, you don't have this movement going up here and back across. And it kind of just keeps you going in a circular motion, but I just like it. That's fun. Cool shot. And there was a lot of, I like that the mask she's got on kind of gives you a little bit of a sense of place and time. We went back and forth with the magazine on whether we should, when we went to do stories during COVID, we were normally like across a, they might be on the porch and I sat out in the yard so we wouldn't be too close because who knew what was going on. But we had a big debate about should we show people with their masks or just ask them to take it off because they look so much better, but it's a sign of the times. And so, and believe me, if we showed people with masks, we heard about it. If we didn't show people with masks, we heard about it. And it's like, oh. So we just went with whatever was going on, that if they didn't have a mask, don't worry about it. We'll just keep going. So anyway, I like that one. Whose is this? Anybody? I thought it was Deshaun.
It is.
Deshaun, do not put proof over your photos 4 times because I could barely see the photo.
Okay.
I thought it was
I have a
you.
reason why I do those things.
I
but
know
we
you
can
do.
talk
I know.
about it.
But so I figured this was you. And I know there's a reason, but it made it really hard to look at the photo and judge it. The other two I kind of gave up on. This one because I could see the hands pretty well. And then I love how her eye is sort of cropped in half. Normally you would never cut somebody's eye in half, but then you go down and the shirt has another eyeball on it and it's looking back into the hands. And so it really gave you a lot of, it's almost tension. It's really love and security, but it also has some tension in it with her kind of looking away. She's not like looking toward the hands, but she's hanging on. So it gives you a little, like she's got a little nervousness and she's got that fingernail almost dug into the adult's hand. So it was a really nice shot, but I almost didn't pick it because it's so hard to see it. So anyway, food for thought. And I'm not slamming you, Deshaun, but I figured this was yours. The other
Thank
two
you.
images we had were nice too. They were just so hard to read with the proof on it.
Okay.
That probably hurt them. So and I didn't have this in the final until like the last go round, and I was like, no, I just got to pull that back in. So anyway, it just made it hard to see them. But love this image. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Those are my nieces. We were in Dixon for a pillow fighting contest or something like that.
Okay.
And it looked cooler than what it was. Like the way they advertised it was not the way it went down. So we were very disappointed.
Oh,
But
no.
she's very attached to her big sister. So this just depends on the moment. Sometimes she's really, really close to her. Sometimes she'll walk a little free. But I just happened to turn around real quick, and I think I might have shot this behind my back,
Oh,
actually,
wow. Okay.
because I saw them walking. And that's just what came out.
Yeah, very cool. I liked it. It's a nice image.
Thank you.
So, yep. This was second. I think I picked this. If I was going to do second place, this was, I think, going to be second place. This is, I think she said she shot it maybe at Warner Parks. I can't remember. Anyway, it's, oh, help me with her name. Diane Burgett. Yes. She does a lot of stuff like this. It's neat studies in camera motion and lens motion when she's shooting. And then she also does quite a bit of post-processing. And it's just such a cool feel. And the palette and the light is just really nice. It just gives you, and it's almost like a mystery forest. The feel to it gives me mystery, and like the fairies in the forest, are going to pop out somewhere, or Father Time is going to pop out somewhere. It's almost, a little Harry Potterish, of things you think of, just really cool, old, traditional kind of ghost stories that happen in the woods. Anyway, nice shot. Diane, you're not on Zoom, are you? Nope. Anyway, I liked this one. And that's back to the beginning. Questions, comments, hate mail? Oh, well, thank you. This is the first show I've juried for something like this, and it probably was harder than I thought it was going to be just because it was an open theme, because Now I've judged 1,000 photo contests for the magazine, and those I get much more in the weeds on technical. Is it in focus? And these are people that aren't photographers, so it's a whole lot easier to weed out 300 of those and keep 10 rather than all the ones that came in were good and you had to really refine it down to the best. So, but thank you guys for allowing me and inviting me to do that. I really enjoyed it. And I think it turned out to be a really nice show. So, all right. Cool. Oh, thank you.
Great job,
Well,
brother.
they said I got to put 4 in. I was like, that's kind of like cheating because, then it became an issue of what am I going to put in? So, but
Presenting them.
yeah,
I know you haven't done out there.
Yeah.
but,
I'll get out this week.
I think you'll appreciate.
Awesome.
There was
They
a
did.
comment that they were in the back.
Okay.
Somebody said they should have been up front.
Oh, yeah, they'll find 'em.
Because the judge and.
Yeah.
Down there, so so you'll find.
Kind of in the
them.
back,
They're
okay.
just in the back.
okay. Gotcha. All right, cool. Well, I will look for them. But I enjoyed it and, it always gives me some kind of inspiration or it's like, oh, I got to go there, so now like I'm going to have to go find the guy in New York at the B&H store. So it just looks too cool not to speak to at least once in my life. So, anyway, any other comments or Wayne, I'll turn it back over to you. Okay. Let me quit sharing here.
Well, does anyone have any activities or shows or awards to talk about or that you'd like to announce?
Speaking of photo contests, I think Tennessee Magazine has a photo contest coming out. It'll be in the November magazine, the entry form, or just look online at tnmagazine.org. And I don't know the deadline dates. I just remember seeing that page. So there's an open photo contest. And if you're, we have pro, adult, and junior categories. Pro is if you make more than like half your living with photography. And believe me, all of you would blow away the pros that enter because they're not very good. So, the ones that say they're pros are not very good. So anyway, but you don't have to enter pro. But in the pro category, we only ever get like 30 or 40 entries. So you can do whichever you want. So, but yeah, enter that. That's the only contest I can think of at this moment.
Okay.
I know about.
I wanted to tell everyone that I've got a couple of book events coming up that my raft trip book is going to be published on November the 5th. And you can look it up online if you're interested. It's called The River Will Be a Part of Us. And it's published through Daylight Books in New York. And I've got a book event coming up at Landmark Booksellers in Franklin on Saturday, November the 9th at 6 p.m. So I'll be there and I'll be giving a little presentation about the raft trip and the creation of the book, and I'll be showing some of the photographs on a screen, and then signing copies of the book as well. If anyone's interested, and I'll also have another book event on the 14th of November, and that's on a Thursday evening at 6 o'clock at the Fate LaForce Brewing Company in Nashville, that's on on 3rd Avenue South. It's actually right behind my house. Again, I'll be giving a presentation about the raft trip and showing slides from the raft trip and be available to sign books. So if anyone's interested in coming to that, you're all welcome. Okay.
Wait, did we set a date for the Christmas party?
I don't think we have.
Okay, we might need to talk about that.
What do you think would be is that usually on a Tuesday?
It's
as
usually
well?
that first week. So TECA has got a function here and they've got 2 receptions in here the day that we planned, which I think was December 4th. So what are your schedules?
We booked it. I told Laura Beth to just move it 1 week back.
She arrived on foot. They have to have.
You guys do the 10th. I think we had it originally on the 3rd.
No, let it play out until we get eyes on Naomi.
Or yeah, well, we can pretty much do it.
Yeah, I might be out of town on the 10th.
Would have to be on a Tuesday.
That's totally up to the club. If
Right.
you guys want to do it.
I think you need to be there.
Yeah, we could even do. We could do Thursday the 5th.
That'd be fine
It's open here,
for me, the 5th.
unless that conflicts with Brentwood. The next night, Brentwood's next.
Yeah.
Okay,
Is it?
Brentwood's the
Friday the sixth.
6th, okay,
That's what I have on the calendar.
okay.
I didn't hear this.
Totally up to you guys. Wayne, I don't know if you want to send out an email and see if you can come in, or just.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll send out an email, but we can say for now, preliminarily December the 5th and see.
5th, let's do 5th. You're gonna be gone that whole week, next week?
Not the whole week. I'll probably be gone the 10th through the 13th.
Okay.
Still clear, do not lose it.
Well, and we could also do the 17th, but that's getting pretty close to Christmas.
Yeah,
That'd be good
yeah.
for the 17th too.
Yeah.
We'll just send out an email with.
When stolen this morning from the Hastings on Hudson area. I have visual confirmation.
3rd, 4th, and
Tell me we have eyes on Naomi.
the 18th.
Go to 2 parties in a row.
Yeah, I mean, that Thursday. would be fine, too.
Yeah.
We just wanna go with the 5th. Just let me know, and yeah. 'cause
Okay.
I'll probably go to Brentwood, so.
Copy that.
Okay.
All right.
When you don't bring your food, so.
Yeah, you're right here. Exactly, yeah, we could do food, and when we come here, just for, if you haven't been here before for those, we can do food, we usually do little appetizers, you can bring whatever you wanna drink, you can bring wine or whatever flavor of alcohol, adult drinks you wanna drink, and, we usually bring a print and trade prints with like a white elephant Christmas party,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll put that in the email, and then you can-
Okay.
we'll pick a date.
All right.
Pretty good,
Okay.
that's all I had. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good to see ya.
Thank you.
Bye to everybody out